So Big Swole, Shawn Rhoden beats Phil Heath in the 2018 Mr. Olympia.
Can you believe that shit?
It's the GAINZ Trust, baby. So what's the deal, Big Swole?
All right, so obviously yesterday in the US, Shawn Rhoden dethroned 7-time Mr. Olympia Phil Heath.
We have a new Mr. Olympia for the first time in the first time since, I think Phil's first would be 2011.
When he beat Jay,
Yeah. So for the first time in 8 years, we finally have a new Mr. Olympia. Somebody has knocked Phil Heath off.
Did you ever think it would happen?
No,
I did.
I'm on the record many times. I've even shot a bunch of videos about it where I said nobody will beat Phil Heath until he either retires or until his body starts breaking down. As you get older in the sport and you've been on top for, it happens to
He's
all.
Still in his prime,
all
so
the
you didn't
great
expect it to
champions.
happen.
Definitely. Well, his body definitely is not as good as it once was, but I don't feel like it started to break down, like, for example, Ronnie Coleman's did in his last Olympia.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So, man, a lot of people talking about it, a lot of people hitting us about it, wanting our thoughts. So we thought, what better opportunity than an episode of the GAINZ Trust?
Bring it back to the table and pretty much
through it.
What we're going to do is go through the scoring.
Yes.
To break it down to you guys how everything's sort of panned out for those who don't know.
Yeah, and because I guess a lot of people don't really know how scoring works in bodybuilding. So we're gonna show you that the scorecard is publicly available. So we're gonna go through the scorecard and we're gonna compare the scores that the judges gave Shawn and Phil, show you how they actually get those scores, where they come from, and then go through them so you can see exactly how much on the scorecard Shawn beat Phil by.
Absolutely.
And then that's your
Look,
you can
I'm
go
not
in
sure
there.
whether we want to do this, but we're going to analyze all the big, the major poses. We're going to go through them. You guys are going to see them on screen. And we're going to just break down what our thoughts are. Now, keep in mind, we're not judges.
We're not
This is just our opinion.
We're looking at photos as well, and often, and I've said this many times as well, often photos don't tell the true story. And you've been to the Olympia many times, as have I, and sometimes you see people in person, and you compare the photos, and you're like, man, in person,
completely different.
That was not what the photos show. But obviously, we weren't there this year.
Absolutely.
We only have the photos to go by, so we're going to analyze the photos and give you guys in depth our opinion on this contest between Shawn Rhoden and Heath and how it all went
Disclaimer
down.
that this is only our opinion.
Of course, we're not judges.
No.
I'm not a fucking IFBB pro judge. You're not an IFBB pro.
Definitely not, mate.
You don't even compete.
No.
Really? Let's
No.
put this in context. But everyone, we have been hit up for our opinions. This is our opinion. So let's get straight into it. First things first, scorecard. Guys, throw it up on screen. A lot of numbers here, Big Swab. A lot of numbers. So you can see number 4 was Shawn Rhoden. And then if you scroll down to the bottom of the scorecard, you see number 19 is Phil Heath. And as you kind of go across in that first column, they've got their number. The second column, they've got their name, what country they represent. Obviously, both are from the US. And then you've got 2 columns, one judging, one finals, and then a total, which adds up those 2 points, and then a placing. So how does this all work?
So the first number we're going to look at is the pre-judging,
which is the judging column.
Yeah, the judging column.
Okay, you can see that Shawn was awarded 7 points. And Phil was awarded 8. And now, just to don't get it twisted, the lower the score, the better. This is not like the high score wins. No. This is actually the lower score wins.
So you get for the poses, you're going to get a 1 point if you had the better pose in that particular round, and then so on and so forth. That you get second would be 2 points, 3 points, 4 points, all the way up to the 19 people that they've got.
So it's based on the points are not really points; they're actually a placing. So for the Mr. Olympia, there's 5 judges that give their placing of each of the athletes. So if you have all 5 judges who have you in first place, you get 5 points. Now you can see here that in the judging, which is the pre-judging, Shawn had 7, Phil had 8. So that means that 3 of the 5 judges had Shawn first. So that's 3 times 1 equals 3. And then 2 of the judges had Shawn second. So 2 times 2 equals 4. You add 3 plus 4 and you have 7 points. So after pre-judging, 3 of the 5 judges had Shawn first. 2 of the 5 judges had him second.
And as you can see with Phil's, vice versa, it was 2 and 3. So pretty tight.
Correct.
1 point in after prejudging, and then we go into the finals.
Yep.
And you look at the score there that Shawn has 6,
yep,
and Phil has 9. So which means
that
that one it is. So 4 of the judges gave Shawn first.
Yep.
And 1 gave him second.
Yep.
And then Phil other way around. 4 judges gave him second and
yep,
1 gave him first. So it's still like really tight.
Very close, but you can see that between the judging and the finals, yep, one of those judges that
changed his mind.
Changed their mind.
Yep,
exactly.
absolutely.
And flipped the placings around,
yep,
which is why you have that there's literally 1 point difference in judging,
mm-hmm,
but then there's 3 points difference in finals. You add those 2 points up, you have 13 total points for Shawn, and
yep,
you have 17 total points for Phil, which is why Shawn finishes first and
mm-hmm,
Phil finishes second.
Yeah, yeah. In boxing, you'd call it a split decision, wouldn't you?
Very, very close.
Very close.
Very. I mean, you got judges, like, it's splitting hairs,
yeah,
really. And
yeah,
the fact that one judge changed that, well, we're assuming,
well,
but based on those numbers,
one of them did.
Well, you could have one and then one change the other direction.
Yeah,
but the net effect is one judge went from having Shawn having Phil first to having Phil second after the finals.
Yeah, absolutely.
So very, very close.
Mm.
Now I want to go through and have a look at these poses, these comparisons.
Yeah, this is where you sort of go, and this is just from us, where you look and go, okay, what are they actually looking at?
Correct.
Because, from what the photos that we see, we sort of go, and this is, once again, just our opinion, guys, is,
of course,
Shawn looked great, but in a lot of the poses, like, well, I think Phil won that one.
Okay, so let's start. Let's pull up the side tricep pose first.
Yep.
And we're not looking at Rulli and William Bonac in these, they 3rd and 4th.
No.
We're looking right down the middle. We're looking at Shawn on the left,
yep,
Phil on the right. Side tricep pose first. Who wins this pose?
Well, if you look at the side tricep pose here, the tricep on Phil I think is a lot better. There's a lot more meat hanging off that arm there.
Correct.
There's a lot more like rear delt as well.
Mm-hmm.
Even the legs I think look a little bit better.
It's hard with the legs in this pose because they're hitting
really
different leg poses.
Yeah.
But I think even Phil through the chest is a little bit bigger. Through the midsection, they're very similar. They've got similar conditions, similar thickness through the midsection.
Delts would be a lot fuller as well when you compare that.
So who you got in this pose?
Look, this is just my opinion. I'm just giving this one to Phil. I think the only area where Shawn actually beats him in this is through the torso. I still think his torso looks better.
Yeah, but I give this to Phil as well.
Yeah.
Let's move on and let's go to a front lat spread photo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who wins this one and why?
All right, so I'm going through it again.
Yep.
So once again, I think Phil's legs still look, they've come in tighter. They look in better condition.
They're bigger and they're more conditioned in this pose.
Yes,
absolutely. Bigger and more conditioned.
If you look through the delts and the chest, again, I still think Phil has it, and Phil's got a lot more lat mass there as well.
I mean, the biggest thing for me here is look at the upper part of the torso. Look at the forearms. Look at the biceps, the triceps, the delts, just the chest. Like it's. I mean, I think this pose, Phil wins this one hands down.
Yeah, and even you could say that I guess one of Shawn's stronger points in pretty much all of the poses was his midsection, and Phil has almost holding his own in this one.
There's not much in the midsection
not much at all.
Of this one. All right, let's go. They say Olympia's a one from the back, so let's go to the back poses. Let's go back double biceps on this one. Who wins this one?
Well, I'll start from the bottom again, man.
Yep.
If you look at the hammies on Phil, are just unbelievable. That that glute tie-in again. He's really, really peeled through his glutes there.
The glutes are ridiculous. Look, just the difference in lower body condition between Phil and Shawn here is black
but then,
and white.
Then when you get to the back, man, like his back is, we said before, his lats are a lot more prominent.
Yeah.
And I think, he's just got a lot more detail. And then you look the biceps and the triceps, like his triceps in that are actually feathered.
Yeah.
So, it's, again, this is only photos, but I'm still giving this one to Phil.
And the forearms. Like, look at the forearms. A lot of people don't look at the minor details, but even through the forearms, like, man, it's, I mean, Phil's forearms are comparable to Rulli's in this one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Jeez, like, mate, you don't even look at the...
You don't. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
We're not worrying about Rulli there.
You look at the finer details here through the delts, the arms, the forearms, the middle of the back. I mean, really the one thing that Shawn has on Phil here is probably through the lats.
Yeah.
And that's a good segue because the next pose we're going to look at is the lat spread. And this one is, I mean...
This is a big one for me, man.
This is a huge one.
Look at the detail through the back here. And it could just be where the photo is taken while Shawn's actually doing that pose. I'm not sure whether he actually changed the angle on his back there. But
I picked the best photos I could find of both athletes, and Shawn hit that exactly. He hit it exactly the same.
Yeah,
in all the
and
photos.
if you have a look at the detail through the upper back again, it's just it's chalk and cheese really. Again, you look at the legs, and I still think Phil's got a little bit better condition there.
Yeah.
So, man, again, I know how close it was, but I still give this one, to Phil. And this is when I was watching, bits of the broadcast on the weekend. I was like, man, yeah, Phil, he looks good. Yeah. He's going to hold on to his title.
Yeah.
Because when you're looking at this, you're like, man, he just looks better conditioned in all of these photos, and he does the same as he did on the broadcast.
Man, honestly, in this pose, I probably put Shawn fourth. Of all the guys hitting this pose.
Yeah.
Probably definitely Phil, then Ruley, and then you go between Bonak and Shawn. It's, it's close, but I mean, Phil, this is Phil's pose right here.
Absolutely. He's very prominent from the back, man. Yeah. He always has been. So
okay, and now, so one of the big comments that was coming out over the weekend about why Shawn beat Phil had a lot to do with the midsection.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we need to have a look at the poses from the front that demonstrate the midsection to be fair, because we're presenting both sides of this argument for you guys. So let's go into front abs and thighs.
Now this is where I think Shawn really, I guess, pulls. You'll definitely wins points from me. Like if you compare the midsection there, his is very tight, very small midsection. Yeah. He's able to pull it in, whereas Phil wasn't. Like you can see, there's just not a lot of definition through especially the lower abdominals there. It's just, there's nothing at all.
Phil just seemed to have a lot of, and once again, I looked at a lot of different photos and pulled the best of both athletes, and I really couldn't find a photo where Phil looked like he could control his midsection.
Midsection.
This was really the best one, and I think, there's really no questioning, not even just through the midsection, but I think, even in this pose through the legs, I mean, Shawn's got the striated quads.
Absolutely.
Phil doesn't. Shawn obviously has a tighter midsection. I think Shawn's chest looks a little bit better in this pose, and even through the lats once again. So I think, my opinion, I think Shawn dominates this pose.
I totally agree with you.
So that's definitely one where you go, okay, he beats Phil there. And then let's have a look at the one of the most iconic poses from the weekend, which is of course the front double biceps.
Yeah. Now this is a tough one, man. Like
this is close. This one.
Yeah. So through the arms and the upper torso, you've got to give this one to Phil. He's just so much more conditioned.
Look at if you want to start from the top, look at the front delts, the biceps, the triceps, the chest.
They're all just round, full, lean.
Everything through there.
Then you look down and Shawn's midsection again still takes the cake.
It does.
And you look, the legs are comparable, I think. So
legs are very similar.
Very similar. Yeah. So that's a tough one. You could really split hairs with that one, I think. But one guy's won the upper part of the torso. Other guys won the lower, and you like we said before, you're splitting hairs with the legs. So
you do.
It's a tough one.
So, based on those photos, obviously there's a couple of poses missing, and the reason why we haven't discussed them is because I couldn't find good photos where they were both in the pose
at the same time.
So the side chest, I couldn't find one where they were both hitting the same side chest. The most muscular, they both hit different most muscular. So those were difficult poses to actually. I mean, it would have been hard to compare there. And that's why there's no real photos to compare. But I think based on those 6 poses that we've just analyzed, I mean,
it's so tight, man.
It's very, very close, man. But once again, we're not there.
No.
We're looking at photos. I think based on those photos, really the only pose that Shawn wins convincingly is the front abs and thighs pose.
Definitely. Yeah.
That's it. And there's a bunch there that Phil really dominated.
Yeah.
Like dominated all the athletes in that top 4.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like not even close. So I mean, it's a tricky one, man.
Yeah, and this is like, obviously, bodybuilding's always subjective. It's always going to be.
Yep.
And that's I guess the toughest thing about this sport is it's never going to be, you come in, you win the race, you come first.
Yes.
You just don't know. It comes down to someone's opinion.
Always a subjective.
So it's just subjective. And once again, this is only our opinion.
Correct.
But I would have,
Correct.
If it was me judging, I would have given it to Phil for the win, but that's just my opinion.
And I think, what it comes down to, and this is not right or wrong, this is just, it is what it is. What it comes down to is that the weight that the judges gave the midsection and the tightness of the midsection and the ability to control the gut, to bring it in, to hold it, obviously they gave that more weight than anything else.
Well, I think they're making a point to go, well, this is not going to be tolerated anymore.
Correct.
You have to learn to control your midsection, otherwise you're going to be deducted points for it.
Well, it's not even deducted points. It's like we are going to weight that so highly. Yep. We are going to put so many chips on that side of the table that you can come in with a better back lat spread, with harder legs, with better condition, and all the stuff that we just went through where Phil beats Shawn quite convincingly in the poses. You can come with all that shit, but we're going to put so many chips in that part of the physique. We're gonna weight the tightness of the waist and the ability to control the midsection so highly that if you can't do that, none of the rest of that shit matters. And
I guess that's a good thing, so long as it's now a precedent and they do it every year.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to see it go back next year to where you've got the distended bellies there and they're back again and people are winning competitions like that.
Well, you can't now.
No, because they've set an example and go, you have to have a tight midsection. Yep. You're giving guys 12 months to work on it and get it to the point where they can do that.
Correct.
If not, they can't go back to the way it was last year.
No, absolutely. I mean, you've just dethroned the 7-time Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, and how many guys have won 7 Mr. Olympias?
Well, and this is the thing as well, man, is, just stuff that I've kind of been on the record saying is I've always said, like, if you're going to beat the champ, the champ always goes in with the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely.
Right? Because you're the champ,
absolutely.
right? It's like any subjective sport. It's boxing, it's MMA, it's like anything where there's a subjective element. If you're the champ, you get the benefit of the doubt. It's just the way human nature works. So if you're going to beat the champ,
you've got to do it convincingly.
You've got to fucking beat the champ.
Yeah.
In boxing, you got to knock the champ out.
Knock him out. Yeah.
In bodybuilding, you have to do the equivalent of knock them out. Yeah. You have to convincingly beat them. And I just don't think that Shawn did.
No.
In my humble opinion,
we just went through the poses and it was so close to go, man.
No, it should be, yes, he wins that because of this. Yes, he wins that because of this. Yes, he wins that because of this. And it's not even close.
No. But if you look back at it, though, man, how many times in the Mr. Olympia could we have done this? Between, when Kai and Phil were going at it, and you think Kai beat him in a lot of the poses, but Phil won a couple as well. They've always been tight.
But that's what I'm saying. They've always been tight, and the champ gets the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
This is the first time where they've said, you know what, we're weighting this midsection thing so highly that we don't give a fuck if you're the champ. You don't have to be knocked out. We're putting our foot down, and we're saying this is now direction that we want to take bodybuilding.
100%.
So the question then becomes, is that good or bad for bodybuilding?
Look, I think it is. Because
good or bad?
I think it's good. I don't think it's great that you have to dethrone who I still think is the better bodybuilder. To actually make that point. But if that's the point they're going to make, then that's the point they've got to make. I guess it's going to make Phil hungry to come back next year and get his title back.
Well, absolutely. And to be honest, I don't want this video to come across like we're taking anything away from Shawn.
No, definitely not. We can't do that.
We've done a lot of stuff with Shawn personally. He's been at our booth a couple of times at the Arnold and whatnot. Fantastic guy, amazing physique. Nobody is denying that.
No.
And kudos to Shawn Rhoden because he stayed true to his physique.
Yep.
He stayed true to his strengths. He's always had that nice X frame, that nice short waist.
Yep.
He's never kind of erred on the side of putting on extra mass to compete against the mass monsters and therefore sacrificing that.
Yep.
He stuck to his guns and he's like, this is my idea of what the Mr. Olympia should look like. And, sometimes in subjective sports, you can be a little bit ahead of the game and you kind of need to wait for the game to catch up.
It's a lot like,
and I feel like perhaps that's what's happened this year.
Yeah, it reminds you a lot of like Dexter Jackson in 2008, doesn't it?
100%.
It's just like
100%.
History rewriting itself 10 years later.
Yep, it's exactly what happened to Dexter and Jay. Granted, I think that year, and now we're going back, but we do have to mention it because you brought it up. That year, Jay came in off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas I don't think Phil came in off this year.
No.
Phil was fucking on. But it's the same thing.
Absolutely.
It's like
we're trying to change the guard a little bit.
The judges have decided that this is now the standard, which they have every right to do. It's a subjective sport. If you're a pro league judge, pro league president, Jim Mannion, you fucking decide what you want to decide.
Exactly. It's your sport.
It's your sport. You make the rules. And I think that it's a good thing for bodybuilding.
Absolutely, man.
I really do. I really do. And I'm happy to see Shawn win.
Yeah.
He's fucking 43 years old. He's been at it for a long time.
Long time.
To win your first Olympia at 43, I think he's the oldest athlete ever to win his first Olympia.
Yeah, that'd be right, I think.
Is that more than Dexter? It'd be
no,
between him and
Dexter's
Dexter.
not.
I should probably
No, I
get
don't
my
think so.
facts right.
No.
But, you know, that's one hell of a grind, man. So
Absolutely.
massive props to Shawn Rhoden. And I think that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, man. And look, like I said, so long as it stays, you know, like it continues for next year, and we don't see it go backwards back to the way it was, then it's a good thing. It's worth it. And if anything, it makes for an interesting story next year, man.
Yeah.
You know, you can imagine the lead up to the Olympia next year. It's
always
been for the last 7 years. Phil's going to win. Phil's going to win. Phil's going to win.
And I've said it. Like I said at the start of this video, I was like, no one is even close to Phil. No one's going to touch Phil until he retires or his body starts degrading.
Yeah,
and
so
now they've thrown a spanner in the works, and people are like, fuck, man, we have a new Mr. Olympia. What's going to happen next year?
Yeah.
Is Kai Green going to come back now?
Jesus.
You know, that's another one.
Now you're throwing a spanner in the works.
It's like, you know, and I mean, even from an Australian perspective, we've got Josh Lenatowicz coming back next year as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Josh has always done a great job of keeping that
midsection
tight midsection. So it's like, man, it's
it's
added
again,
excitement into
Absolutely.
the sport.
Something that hasn't had for a long time.
Yeah,
it's just always been the same. So yeah, I think it's a good thing.
Yep.
I just feel sorry for Phil because I think. When I look at the photos, I'm like, man, it's got to hurt.
Phil's doing exactly what we just did.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, in his hotel room in Las Vegas.
Last
year after the Olympia, we did an interview with him.
Yeah.
Throwback to that real quick.
When we jumped into the elevator and we saw you, I was immediately inspired. I'm like, here's this guy, 7 times Mr. Olympia, 2 days after winning the 7th. Putting you up there
Still
with
no
the greats.
Sleep,
Still no sleep. But up here Monday morning after the Olympia putting in work.
That was, and that interview, man, was amazing. Because he was ridiculous. This is 24 hours after, or 12 hours after he's won the Olympia. He's already doing an hour of cardio.
He was back prepping for the next year.
Dude, are you fucking serious?
So he's got to
He was hungry then.
He's doing this right now in his hotel room. He's looking at these photos and he's going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But, that's the subjectiveness of the sport.
Absolutely.
If you put yourself on the stage, you have to be prepared that the judges are going to decide what the 100%. Judges decide, and they're going to set the standards, and the standards are always changing. I've used an analogy before. I've said it's like playing basketball, but the position of the ring changes every time you shoot at it.
Hey, it's fucking great.
It's true, right?
Very, very true.
It's true. Could you imagine the NBA if every time there was a fast break or every time you're on offense, there's someone that's moving the ring, 2 inches here, 3 inches there. So you're lining up for a 3-point on the fucking sideline.
I'm going to move this, man.
Foot further away.
Well, that is very true, though.
But that's the nature of the sport.
Absolutely.
Anyway, that's our opinion. And as you always say, Big Swole,
opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one.
Everyone does have them. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Nope. No more assholes.
Tell the viewers to hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to turn your post notifications on both on your mobile, your cell phone, and your desktop PC so you don't miss a beat when it comes to the MassiveJoes YouTube channel. What's your opinion, guys? Let us know down below in the comments on the 2018 Mr. Olympia. Until next time, where are we coming to and from, Swole?
MassiveJoes.com.
Stay massive.
Thank you for tuning in to this video. We hope you enjoyed watching. Don't forget to check out our latest upload and our recommended video, and be sure to subscribe to the MassiveJoes YouTube channel to stay up to date with all of our latest uploads.